Hi, this is Nick Brody in the ATM 101 course. This is my Unit 4 screencast. The dates recorded are January 29th through February 2nd. The times that I recorded the data were between 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. I am located in Fairbanks, Alaska. I have set up my observation station outside of Bunnell Building on UAF campus. The Bunnell Building is where I spend most of my time, and it makes it convenient for me to record the weather data outside of it. The data that I've recorded were between January 29th and February 2nd. On January 29th, I had recorded a max temperature of 19 degrees and a low of 14 with an average of 16 degrees. I did this recording at 12 p.m. There was no wind, and there was clear skies and no precipitation. On January 30th, I recorded the max temperature at 17 degrees and the low temperature at 10 degrees with an average temperature of 13.5. This recording was taken at 1 p.m. It was semi-cloudy outside with no precipitation. On January 31st, the max temperature that I recorded was 12 degrees and the low was 5. The average temperature was 8.5. I did this recording at 12 p.m. It was partially cloudy outside with no precipitation and no wind. On February 1st, I recorded a max temperature of 15 degrees, a low temperature of 10 degrees, and an average temperature of 12.5 degrees. This recording was taken at 3 p.m. The skies were slightly overcast and there was a slight wind. There was no precipitation. On February 2nd, I recorded a max temperature of 20 degrees, a low temperature of 15 degrees, and an average temperature of 17.5. This temperature recording was taken at 1 p.m. There was no precipitation and it was partly cloudy with no wind. As you can see from my recordings, they roughly match the National Weather Service's recordings. I think that my recordings were slightly higher due to the elevated location of the UAF campus. As you can see, the temperature slightly dipped throughout the week and then returned gaining temperature towards the end of the week. The barometric pressure that I recorded throughout this week is as follows. On January 29th, I recorded around 1,020 millibars. On January 30th, I recorded around 1,025 millibars. On January 30th, January 31st, I recorded 1,026 millibars. And on February 1st, I recorded 1,029 millibars. And on February 2nd, I recorded 1,037 millibars. My recordings almost mirror the ones of the Natural Weather Service's recordings. I feel this is because I took the recordings at roughly the same time and near the same location that they took theirs. There is also a possibility for error in my recordings, and I just lucked out. On Wednesday, January 29th, 2014, you can see from the map that there is a high pressure front sitting over most of the interior. There is also sparse cloud cover around the Fairbanks area, and up north of the Fairbanks area there's heavy cloud cover. There's a high pressure front in Canada to the east and a high pressure front to the south in the Gulf of Alaska, and low pressure fronts coming in from the west near Japan and Russia. The low pressure front that's coming up from the Aleutian chain is bringing a lot of clouds and moisture with it as well, which could result in some precipitation once it hits landfall. On Thursday, January 30th, 2014, you can see that the cloud cover has taken over most of the interior, with fog coming in through the Fairbanks area, which is unusual because typically we see ice fog with low temperatures, and the temperatures on Thursday, January 30th were roughly between 17 and 10 degrees. There's a high pressure front on the North Slope area, and there's also one down in the Cordova region. The low pressure front with the large amount of cloud cover that's coming up from the southwest is pushing that to landfall. On Friday, February 31st, 2014, you can see that high pressure front that was in the Gulf of Alaska has now moving up towards the interior and is causing heavy cloud cover over most of the state. The high pressure front that is in Canada as well as southeast Alaska is driving that cloud cover to cover most of the interior as well. And that low pressure front that was coming up from the Aleutian chains has now dissipated and is bringing the weather to come to landfall and is causing precipitation along the west coast of Alaska through snow. On Saturday, February 1st, 2014, you can see that there was heavy cloud cover through the interior Alaska. This is due to the high pressure front in the western area of Alaska and the eastern area of the interior Alaska. This caused fog and light precipitation around the state, but it did not affect the Fairbanks region. As you can see, the high pressure front that's pushing it further up on the panhandle, it's causing lots of snow in the regions of Cold Bay and on Alaska. On Sunday, February 2nd, 2014, you can see that the low pressure front that was pushing up on the panhandle of Alaska, or the Aleutian chain of Alaska, is slowly dissipated, and the high pressure front that was situated over the interior has moved north, and another high pressure front is coming up through the Gulf of Alaska. This is going to bring cold weather for the next week and possible precipitation from the west, as well as precipitation for the interior from the east. These images are of the water vapor and infrared camera views taken from the NOAA website. As you can see, there's a low pressure front bringing up the heavy moisture air from the southwest along up through the Gulf Coast of Gulf of Alaska, which is going to hit landfall by the weekend. This is taken on January 29th. As you can see from the previous slides, that is actually true. It did hit landfall and it caused heavy precipitation for western Alaska and south central area. You can see along these correlated images, the water vapor and the infrared map you are easily able to see where the heavy precipitation and cloud cover is that is bringing up the moisture from the southwest area. This concludes my screencast for Unit 4.